to our listeners. We are here with the Cocodona 250 live stream and a special guest, Simon Gerard. He finished in 93 hours, 47 minutes, and 40 seconds, our 38th place male, and I can't wait to hear about your experience. Welcome to the studio, Simon.
Thanks for having me, especially, in this seat you have really fast runner, and then you have me, so I'm very, very proud, and hi, Mom.
Simon, where are you from? Tell us a little bit about, your background.
Yeah. So I'm originally from Montreal, Canada. That's the cute little French-Canadian accent that you have, that my wife loves. But now we live in California, Carlsbad, and travel to Arizona pretty much all the time for racing with our Vipa. They have amazing race like Cocodona.
Yeah, we have that in common. I lived in SoCal for 5 years and never expected to spend so much time in Arizona, but that's what Air Vipa will do to you.
Yep, no, that's for sure. I didn't know the U.S. much about moving here, and I think trail running has helped me discover a lot. Phoenix always felt like the most boring place on earth. And then you come here and you realize there's so much nature around here, amazing nature. And I think Cocodona was actually the perfect race to discover so much variety in terms of ecosystem. It's kind of crazy to see all of that in just one go.
Yeah, what was your favorite ecosystem that you ran through?
I mean, the finish line was pretty sweet.
It's a city, come on.
But the classic that we love is definitely Sedona. That's very special with the red rocks. But anything for me around here feels so exotic compared to the Northeast.
Yeah.
The Black Canyon. We did Black Canyon 100K earlier this year. The desert like that just feels like vacation, and that's just amazing.
Right? Those tall saguaro cacti are pretty out of this world.
Yeah, no, exactly.
So you mentioned you ran Black Canyon. What distance did you do there?
I did the 100K with my wife. It went pretty well. That was this year where there was snow at the beginning, so we had a late start also.
I was there. That's why I'm wearing this boot. I broke my foot during Black Canyon, so.
Sorry
But
to
I'll
hear
be
that.
back. It's a great race, and you've done several other races since that one.
Yeah, I've done a couple of races recently. So for those who are not familiar with me, I'm Simon from Running with Simon on YouTube. I'm racing 100 mile pretty much every month, sometimes more than that. So this year, this is my sixth race, 600 miler or plus. And since then, since Black Canyon, I did Antelope Canyon 100 mile, Zion 100 mile, Fuji 100 mile, and now this. And just Zion was 3 weeks ago, Fuji was 1 week ago, and Cocodona was now. And I don't do it to kind of do too much. I think it's just that I'm like a puppy that's excited and sees kind of food on the table and just has the whole thing and then is sick. So now I'm in the phase where I'm sick. I regret a little bit doing all of them, but I'm glad I was able to do it.
So what's the next one lined up? How do you feel about it?
So coming in Cocodona was a big mystery for me. I had no clue how my body would react and how long the healing process would be. So I have a pause until mid-June for a Bighorn 100. If I feel better, I'll sign up for something before that, but Bighorn will be my first kind of big mountain race of the year.
Nice. And how do you think your body felt, having these kind of intense race experiences back to back coming into Cocodona?
Yeah, I think my secret is that I don't really race them. So I'm not a bad runner by any stretch of the imagination. My fastest 100 miles is 16 hour, which is pretty decent for someone who's not a pro. But I will pace slowly all the time. So I would never say, well, I will say it because that's how we say it. But I don't race these races. I complete them. And that's really my goal, is to think about what's coming up next. So, for example, when I did Fuji, I knew it had a pretty lenient cutoff timeline. So when I was racing, I was actively thinking, okay, but Cocodona is coming up soon. Don't push too much. What's the difference between a 36-hour or 38-hour finish time? It's nothing. I'm not winning. I'm mid-pack. So let's stay mid-pack and let's just stay healthy as much as possible.
Yeah. Do you have any other recovery tips that help keep your body intact and healthy?
I think the basic is something that we often forget. And of course, with a crazy racing schedule like that, you would think that maybe I'm not so keen on recovery, but it's the opposite. I think rest is important. Sleep does absolute magic. I mean, we can see it in a race like Cocodona. Just sleeping a little bit changes everything. So focusing the basics, sleeping, eating, resting, having 1 week of healing and 1 week of taper between races.
Nice. It's a good good system. Let's get into your race experience, and I'm curious, kind of the basics. What was your sleep strategy like? What were you eating out there? Can you walk us through, maybe what your plan was, and did it go to plan, or did you pivot along the way?
Yeah, I did the classic ultra running strategy, which is let's wing it a little bit, which worked out pretty decently. Because I was not planning to race, I decided I'm going to sleep as early as possible and feel good as long as possible. There's really no incentive for me to try and push through the first night and not sleep at all. So as soon as we were to a place where they had comfortable bed, all right, I'm going to sleep 1 hour here. And that's pretty much what I did. I think I did probably an hour every night, a little bit more than that, and some trail napping when I just was feeling a little sluggish.
Cool.
I don't know if that answered the whole thing.
No, but, you're good. And we're going to pause. I think we have a finisher coming in any second now. Or did I just miss it?
I believe it's Eldon Crest. Eldon Crest doesn't have GPS as far as I know.
Okay.
So it's kind of hit and miss.
We might have just seen one of our early Eldon Crest finishers coming in. We'll do some research. Perfect. Yeah. We're going to start seeing those guys rolling 38 miles, cruising from Fort Tuthill to Flagstaff. So they just get the tail end of the course. All right, back to Simon. People want to know what shoes.
Can I give a shout out to?
Please.
We just before that we saw that Coach Brian, which is kind of my partner in crime for our podcast, he was up Eldon, so he's coming down now. I'm very excited. Right after the interview, we'll run to the finish line and greet him.
Amazing. Yeah. That's very cool. It's such a great community. We have people out here wondering what shoes you were wearing.
Oh, yeah. I'm still not sponsored, but I was wearing my Speed Goats. They give me terrible blisters. So I don't know if Oka's gonna sign me when I say that, but they helped me a lot with my Achilles problem in general. So I was really happy with that. I think the course was a little bit too rocky for them, though, so I might switch to something else if I had given it a little more thought than that.
Did you use the heel lock? That other
No,
hole?
I don't even know what that is.
You don't use the heel lock?
No.
Oh, we can do it. We can have a shoe nerd out later. It's just like an extra hole. You can lace it and lock your heel in. Because I do enjoy the Speed Goats, but I need to kind of ratchet them down up there so my foot's not sliding. When I ran, they had the Speed Goat Evos, which was like a slightly lighter version of the Speed Goats, and I swapped shoes quite a bit, but it's a great shoe. Minus the blisters, it's kind of unavoidable.
Yeah, I'm usually pretty good. I think for me they're just a little too narrow, and because it's a rocky course and they're not that sturdy in the front, I was banging my toes a little bit too much. So it is what it is. But to be fair to the shoes, I think it's also that I had a very poor strategy when it came to changing socks and everything. I raced solo, and I had just a couple of drop bag. So that was an issue.
So did your wife meet you as crew anywhere along the course?
No, but we talked about the running community. We'll give a shout out to everyone. So Nora, unfortunately, she had to work. She had to go to Austin for this week. So she just flew back yesterday evening to pick me up. So I was all by myself. But we have a couple of friends that are out there. So Brian that I mentioned and Fanny. So their crew, of course, they saw me. I looked miserable. They helped me. But also just, people that follow my channel that think what I do is amazing or that my tips are helpful. They saw me. They say, hey, Simon, you need anything? And they helped me. So thank you. I was never really alone despite Nora not being there with me.
Yeah, I think it's cool to hear that it is possible to do the Cocodona 250 fully self-supported. There's plenty of opportunities for drop bags, and there's a lot of willing aid station volunteers and crew members anxiously waiting for their runners to come in that will swoop in and...
Yeah. But a tip, if you do it by yourself, put more drop bags than you think and have socks in all of them and probably a spare of shorts because if there's a hole in them from chafing and your next one is at 210, it's not great.
Oh, no.
It's very hypothetical, really, but
hey, anything can happen out here.
Yeah, well, I should know better, but yeah.
And we just had a great shot of some runners enjoying Pete's Meats on the Eldon Crest aid station, or whatever, top of Eldon aid station. Did you have any of Pete's Meats?
Yeah, it's funny because when you reach that and you're not a pro runner, The race is kind of over, but not really. I was like, yeah, I could go down now, but I'm also hungry. I'm just gonna hang out. So I had a bunch of spring roll and also a spare rib. That was pretty good. Yeah.
Yum, I might need to hike up there for lunch.
Yeah, I mean that's what's great about Cocodona. I don't know if that was a strategy, but you go from one restaurant to the other. So I mean they call it aid station, whatever. But yeah, great food. All of these, a lot of volunteers, helpful volunteers. So that was amazing.
Yeah,
They
restaurant.
say ultras are
quality
really
aid
eating
station.
contests, right?
Yeah.
Who can eat keep eating the most, especially in a 200.
Yeah, you gotta keep fueling. I think that was my strategy though, is to take care of myself, and that meant sleep, but also that meant taking time at aid station to eat something solid, to take calories because you need it. You won't fly through this race without eating properly. So.
No, yeah. Food is very necessary to function. Do you have a plan as far as some YouTube content you're going to put out about
Yeah,
this race?
so I'm planning to have a race recap about this one probably in 2 weeks. It's a big race, so that might be a little harder than usually to turn around. I am busy with work also, so we'll see that. But yeah, as always, I'll try to have a movie that is as authentic as possible, really bring you there, the lows, the highs, how it felt, why you should or should not want to do this race, and just being transparent about it from a bit packer perspective. And that's a big goal of my channel, is really to inspire people to get out there, to get on trail, to not be intimidated. It's not just for pro runners, it's also for your average dad that just feels, my life is not going anywhere, I'm eating too much, and hey, let's just go on trail and have fun. So it's a sport that is accessible, and then I'm providing inspiration, but also some tips for finishing mid-pack. So average tips.
Very, very, very helpful. Okay, this question I have to ask because I'm now really curious. Jory Boswell said you wore some special pants. Ask him about them. You don't have to answer.
I mean, sure. No, that's funny. So because I was extremely well prepared, we packed everything Saturday morning, and I was also working. So I forgot to bring some tights for the night, and I knew it would be really cold. But my wonderful wife, had some Lululemon.
Oh!
And now that Lululemon is sponsoring Camille Aron, I was like, well, that's perfect. So that's what I was wearing at night, and that was really important. I think I would have frozen my ass without that. But yeah, so
Shout out
I have a nice
Lululemon.
butt with them. Yes.
That's amazing. Wow. All right, one more question from the chat. What was the favorite thing you saw on course?
I think it's the people in general. It was really wonderful. Honestly, I think every aid station and very often on trail, there was someone say, hey, it's Simon. I was like, yeah, it is Simon. And then we would chat a little bit. And I think it's great to see that people are getting out there. People are having their own challenge. And that was wonderful. There was, I think it was at Walnut, there was a little Simon. That was really cute, actually. It looked pretty good, actually, like with the white hat that I always wear. So that was really cool. That was really special. Yeah, the landscape, of course, is great, and the race is great, but kind of the community was really what was striking to me for a race like that.
The people are even better.
Yes.
Earlier, before we went live, we were talking about your elbow.
Yeah.
Can we see it? Oh yeah, got a little swollen elbow, and otherwise you said you feel relatively good.
Yeah, I mean, it's relative. I think I regret a little bit racing Fuji and then this so close. My Achilles, which is kind of my recurring problem, is definitely flared up. So that's not feeling great. But the elbow is a total randomness. I did trip, so maybe I banged it, but I don't think it's broken. I think it's more bursitis from using the poles, and it's extremely painful. When I run, it's so swollen that it's bouncing, and I feel it, and it's painful just to run. So recovery.
Yeah, we were bonding over this because I slammed my elbow on some rocks while trying to get the fastest known time on the long trail, and it sucks when your elbow hurts, especially when using poles. And so I had to just kind of keep telling myself, I don't need my elbow to run. I don't need my elbow to run. Do you have any fun mind games you play with yourself to stay focused on the run?
I do both extreme. I think when it comes to mental games, sometimes you really have to focus on what you're doing. And for example, Elden, it was reaching the top. You got to reach the top, keep moving, reach the top, and kind of be overly focused on that. And sometimes I will 100% zone out and time just flies. You think about something else, or you don't think about anything, and empty-minded. That's kind of flowing sometimes, but yeah, it depends on the level of pain. Sometimes you can ignore it and it goes away. Sometimes it's just so acute that you have to actively distract yourself.
Amazing. Any questions for Simon, Brianna?
We had one earlier before you got here, actually, in the chat of people just asking, how you manage to race so often, just schedule-wise and financially, and just fitting it all in.
Absolutely, and I think there's a lot of aspect to it. I think, we can think about physically, how can I recover financially or time-wise, and the first one is like, I'm an average guy. I work a pretty demanding job, so it's actually hard to find the time, but it's about prioritizing what you do. So you watch a little less TV and you go running instead. But I think seeing the racing calendar that I have is a bit misleading, because I race a lot, but that means I train much less, because from one race to the other, it's a lot of recovery and taper. But I do manage a YouTube channel, and that's easily 20-hour a week. So it's tough to find the time sometimes. But having a supportive partner, of course, Nora is right there, is really helpful. We have the same kind of adventure. Traveling will always be related to running or hiking. So that's how we find the time. Financially, we're kind of cheap, so sleeping in the car very, 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 very often. That's what we do. And yeah, that's about it. Physically, it's about not racing. It's about just focusing on... And I think for a race like Cocodona, one of the reasons it went decently well is I'm used to focusing a lot on not pushing beyond kind of the threshold of I'm messing myself up right now. You just go below that, which means, yeah, it's a decent finishing time, but you don't go in the red. You take care of yourself. You prioritize sustainability over kind of physical performance.
Awesome.
Very smart.
Tell us about your YouTube channel, where people can find you and follow you.
Yeah, so you can find me on YouTube at Running with Simon. On there I post about maybe once a week, either a race recap, so Cocodona will come up soon, or a training tip video, what has worked for me. I'm gonna get a little bit more into gear soon. So for example, I got a new Coros and I tested which one would survive the longest, my old Garmin or the new Coros. And of course, we knew which one would win. What was fascinating is how big the difference was. So the Garmin died, I think, mile 145, and the Coros is halfway full still.
Wow.
It's going pretty well, yeah. But it was a competition between the Garmin, the Coros, and me, and I think it's a tie between me and the Coros. The race was over. I could have continued for sure, but yeah.
Is that the new Coros Vertex S?
It is, yes.
Sleek.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah, we're Coros fans.
Yep, I've got my Coros here.
Did you enjoy the navigation features?
Yeah, and I got it 12 hours before coming here, so I barely had time to kind of figure out how to upload the course, charge the watch, and get going with it. But yeah, it was pretty intuitive. At the finish line, I don't think we have footage of that, but after crossing the finish line, the first thing you have to do is you stop your watch, and I couldn't figure out how to stop it because I had never done it.
It was your first run with it?
It was, yes.
That's
yes.
amazing.
So I was kind of, you had to end the course, and yeah, that was kind of, I'm learning as we go.
Press and hold.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a great watch, so really happy to have tested out on a course like that.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy life and recovery time to chat with us.
Thanks for having me.
So cool hearing.
Hi, everyone in the live feed.
Yeah, you have so many fans.
A lot of fans out there.
Yeah. It was fun, actually. During I know you're trying to close me up.
Oh, no, you can go on forever.
It was fun on the course because we have service pretty often, and there's live feed. I was popping in and say, hey, what's up? So that was kind of very interactive to see how things were going. And I told them, if Nora, my wife, asks anything, you say I'm doing great, everything is fine, he is not in pain, just so she wouldn't worry, because she was away, she would worry.
Yeah, you're a good running partner. My husband would be very worried too if he wasn't there.
Yeah, it's a white little lie like that. That's fine. You can do that. It's just like someone see me on the course and Simon, you're looking great. It's like I appreciate the kind words. I know it's not true, but
really now. Super cool. Well,
Congratulations. Huge accomplishment. Thanks for being here.